company we bought. These are miraculous metals. Dyes were smuggled out of Europe pre-World War II.
Really?
Brought to this country, and then right after World War II, this man, Bates was his name, I think Myron, and he produced them. When I saw what he was producing, I said, I could do that better. And we ended up buying his company.
Wow.
And then acquiring all these dyes. This is an actual image. Okay, the actual image of the miraculous metal of Blessed Mother that she commissioned. Fabulous.
Okay, guys,
That's the reverse side of the piece.
It's beautiful
Flip
both
that
ways.
around, guys. That's the back.
We're going to go to California and say good afternoon to Clydra. Clydra, thank you for being patient. You're live with us on HSN. Clydra, please meet Anthony.
Anthony, you know how much I love you, and I'm going to make you remember me.
I recognize your voice already.
You know what I want to tell you? Where's the weight to put on the chains to show how strong they are?
You saw we were doing the tug of war.
There we go.
So why don't...
I have to tell you a story. It's very important. That's why I said I don't care how long I have to wait.
Oh.
You know, I told you I have the original cross. My daughter never takes it off. Wow. You and I both have the original bracelet. I never take it off. And I've added a ring. I've had several funerals that I've had to go to with relatives. I flew to Texas. My aunt, bless her heart, lived to be 91. And her son and I are cousins, but he's more like my brother because I'm 11 years older than him. His children were there. Before the funeral, my nephew said, "What is that cross you're wearing?" And I explained to him the story of where this cross come from. I said, "You see this stone in the center?" I said, "This is 20 feet away from where our Lord Jesus was born." I said, this stone means more to me than my diamonds,
exactly.
than anything that I have. So at the funeral, we were sitting next to each other. And I grabbed his hand, and I pulled down my bracelet as low as I could. He rubbed the bracelet during the entire funeral, during the burial. And later on, he said, "Auntie," he said, "that brought me so much comfort." He says, "Besides you being here, me knowing where that stone came from,
and I
it made me so comfortable." He said, "Now I can be peaceful with my grandmother being gone."
And I feel the same way, and I've heard testimonials like that. But thank you, Clydra. Yeah, and it's funny, I recognize her voice. Over the last 25 years, she's gotten through a few times. And you know, I love when the viewers call, because that was what I was always missing as a manufacturer. Originally, when I had the retail stores, I had that customer communication. But it wasn't until I came back here to HSN and started making pieces for you guys and reading the testimonials.